fix them. So I've added them to the 5 strategic directions for Drupal 8. And so that in turn translates to a number of things. Configuration management. It's sort of the same word, but it means different things depending on what level you're talking. But things like exportables, I think we need to get better at supporting exportables in core. Things like universally unique IDs, UUIDs, and also helping to fix the content staging problem. So I think if we do all of those things, I think we'll have done the right thing. We fixed the pains of large organizations adopting Drupal. And right now it's a lot of the early adopters. And we've also positioned Drupal to function well and to be potentially the go-to platform for building mobile applications a couple of years from now. So that was all about features. There's one more thing which I wanted to bring up, and we need to be careful because the future is not just about features. And I've said this in the past, but the future is very much about the ecosystem as well. And there's a great quote from the CEO of Nokia, and he basically said, the battle of devices has now become a war of ecosystems. And they're obviously losing the battle, I think. And then he continues, our competitors aren't taking our market share with devices, they are taking our market share with an entire ecosystem. Things like developers tools, app stores, you name it, basically, all of those things. So what that means, if you apply it to Drupal, is if you have 2 equally capable platforms, Drupal and something else, whatever the requirements are, the platform that's going to be adopted is a platform with the best ecosystem, right? And therefore, it's very important that we keep focusing on improving the ecosystem. And that means a number of things. That means for those of us that run companies, Drupal shops, means we need to become more professional, to the extent we can grow. It also means that we need to continue to invest in tools like Drupal.org, things like the Git migration. We need to do more of those things so that we can help grow the ecosystem around Drupal, because at the end of the day, this is what's going to matter most. It's going to matter more than just features. And this is also something that the Drupal Association can help with a lot, and will continue to help with a lot. So, I've actually a quick story. So I mentioned I traveled to quite a few places. So I met with a CTO, and I won't name the company, but they were looking to build, and this is, for the record, this is like 3 years ago. I met him recently, but this story dates back 3 years ago, so things have changed. But 3 years ago, this person wanted to build the largest Drupal site on the planet. And they had like a $9 to $10 million check that they were going to invest in the website. And they struggled because they couldn't find the Drupal talent. And when they found the Drupal people, they didn't have the right skills. They weren't used to work in those larger organizations. They didn't know agile development. They didn't know dev staging production. I mean, all of the things we've come to learn in the last couple of years. There's going to be more things like that as well. So we need to keep learning. We need to, get better at what we do, and ultimately have the best ecosystem on the planet. All right. So to summarize, we're taking a different approach to developing Drupal 8, empowering initiative owners to make more decisions and to rally and work with smaller groups of people. We talked a little bit about the future of Drupal 8 and what I think is important. And this week I'm going to do a lot of listening and talking as well. So as always, everything is adjustable, can be changed, and then the importance of the ecosystem. So I think, to kick it off, I think, 4 initial initiatives. I don't want to accept 20 initiatives at once, but I want to start small, maybe with up to 4. I think the four that I feel are probably the furthest along in terms of formation are web services, HTML5, universally unique IDs, and configuration management. So I hope to spend quite a bit of time here to talk about those. And I think by doing so, we actually solve many of the pain points that we identified. I think we'll empower initiative owners to have more responsibility and to help push the direction of their initiatives. If we never have more than 15 critical bugs, we'll have some predictability around the release cycle. I'm going to make time to have weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever the right interval is, meetings with those initiative owners and the teams of those initiatives. Obviously talked a little bit about the priorities right now. There will be no more than 15 critical bugs. And of course, performance is going to be one of the gates, before a large chunk gets applied to the main tree. So hopefully performance will never, ever again be an afterthought. So I think if we do all of those things, we should be in great shape. Thank you.
Hi there. So we've been gathering some questions that folks have had via Twitter, and so we're going to go through a couple of them. Some of these are kind of tough, Dries, so hopefully they're not too challenging. One of the first questions we had was from Matt Dave Reed. He asked, what is your biggest regret about Drupal 7?
My biggest regret that we didn't do enough. I wish we could, make some of the changes that I talked about, and the fact that we had to postpone some of the things. I feel, never happy, I guess. No, I think that's my answer.
Okay. We had a couple of questions kind of circulating around this 15 critical bug gate you talked about. One of them was kind of related to Drupal 7 development. The question is, if you started Drupal 7 today, would we have had trouble getting the overlay in, for example, because of that 15 critical bug gateway?
So that's, and I've thought quite a bit about that, and that's some of the risks, right? Like things like the overlay. So what actually happened is, it was sort of working, but it was slow. We didn't meet all of the gates, if you will, but we committed it. And because we did actually commit it, people were like, oops, now we need to go and fix it. So it definitely provides some motivation, if you will, for people to go and fix things which are obviously broken in core. So the question is, if we delegate or move these things to initiatives, official initiatives, but still initiatives that happen outside of the main tree, if we still see sort of that kind of momentum and push. I hope so, but we'll see. I mean, I think that's one of the areas where the initiative thing might break down a little bit. But on the flip side, the fact that we did have slow overlays in core for a while was also very frustrating to many people. So, pros and cons to every approach.
Right. So, on that line about the different initiatives, the initiative leaders, we had a few questions. One was whether from somebody, I think, at Chaos 6983, I think basically saying, do you potentially see this